My child, something heavy has been circling your life, moving quietly in the background, brushing up against your spirit in ways you couldn't quite explain. You felt it in the sudden uneasiness that came over you for no reason, in the moments where your chest tightened without warning, in the nights where your sleep broke and you didn't know why. These weren't random experiences or passing moods. They were signals, subtle touches from the unseen world, trying to make you aware of something deeper, something hidden, something dangerous that up until now has been kept from your understanding. There is someone around you whose heart has grown twisted, someone whose emotions shifted slowly into a darkness even they didn't expect. This person isn't craving riches, success, admiration, or prosperity. No, their desire is darker than anything you might have imagined. They have been silently wishing for an end to someone's life, and the person they have targeted is you. It's a shocking truth, one that feels impossible to believe, yet everything in their recent behavior points directly to it. Their anger has grown into envy, their envy matured into resentment, and their resentment evolved into something far more disturbing than ordinary jealousy. They hide it well, behind polite conversations, behind forced smiles, behind familiar tones, but within them, something has been rotting. This didn't begin suddenly. It wasn't a single moment that flipped them into this darkness. It grew quietly, like a storm forming behind thick clouds, gathering strength over time. The more your life found light, the more their heart sank into shadow. They watched you rise after hardships they thought would break you. They saw you heal from wounds they expected to leave you shattered. They witnessed blessings fall on you at moments when they thought you were finished. And while others celebrated your strength, this person quietly drowned in bitterness. Every breakthrough you experienced became another crack in their spirit. Every time you found peace, they lost a little more of their own. They pretended to be supportive, pretended to care, pretended to be part of your circle, but deep inside, they felt overshadowed by your growth. Instead of working on themselves, they let comparison corrupt them. Instead of celebrating your progress, they let insecurity consume them. And over time, their jealousy fermented into something far more toxic than simple envy. It became obsession, a twisted belief formed in their mind that their own suffering, their own emptiness, would end if your presence ended. In their broken thinking, your disappearance meant their relief, and the darkest truth of all is that they did not let this thought remain a thought. They acted, they moved, they decided. In a moment where their desperation outweighed their conscience, they took the first real step toward turning desire into reality. Late at night, in a dim room, they paced back and forth with trembling hands and a racing heart. Sweat dripped from their forehead not because of heat, but because guilt was wrestling violently against hatred inside them. They tried to silence the voice telling them this was wrong. They tried to kill their own fear by feeding their anger. Eventually they reached for their phone. On the screen was a contact with no name, no picture, just a symbol, something cryptic, something only a person flirting with darkness would understand. They hovered over it, hesitating, breathing unevenly. Their chest tightened, their conscience screamed, but their jealousy screamed louder, and with a hand shaking like a leaf, they dialed the number. The call connected quickly. No greeting, no softness, no humanity, just a voice colder than winter whispering, "Speak." That single word shattered the last piece of goodness left inside them. In a broken whisper they made their request. The room fell silent, a silence so deep it almost felt alive. Then the cold voice replied, calm and unbothered, "Tell me exactly what you want done." And in that moment, the line between thought and action disappeared completely. They discussed everything, timing, location, method, every detail mapped out with disturbing precision. all of it arranged with a chilling lack of hesitation. But what reveals the true depth of their darkness is not just the plan itself, but the date they chose for it. They didn't choose something random. They didn't pick an ordinary day or a meaningless moment. They selected a date tied to your heart, a day filled with memory and meaning for you, maybe the day you were born, maybe a significant anniversary, maybe a day when you honor someone special, maybe a moment that shaped your life forever. They intentionally marked a date that carries emotional weight for you, because in their twisted mind, destroying your life on a day sacred to you felt like the final piece of their revenge. They wanted to shatter not just your future, but your joy, your memories, your celebrations. They wanted their darkness to swallow something beautiful. You may wonder how a heart could fall this far, how a person you trusted could ever become capable of such cruelty. But jealousy is a silent poison. It doesn't scream. It doesn't announce itself. It spreads quietly, hiding behind laughter, hiding behind conversations, hiding behind fake support. And the person who envies you most is often the one who stands closest. You have felt strange energy around them before, a heaviness, an unexplained discomfort, a feeling that something wasn't right. You brushed it aside because you believed in their goodness. You gave them the benefit of the doubt. You trusted their smile even when your spirit sensed the shadow behind it. But now the truth has surfaced. What was hidden is being exposed. Their thoughts are being dragged into the light. Their intentions are no longer secrets whispered in the dark. The very act they believed would end you is unraveling before it even begins, because the moment a trap is revealed, it loses its power. Their plan is collapsing under the weight of truth. Every step they attempted to hide is being brought into awareness. Every secret they buried is being uncovered, and what they intended for your destruction is transforming into your protection. You are not unguarded. You are not walking blindly. You are not stepping into danger unaware. There is a shield around you that their darkness cannot penetrate. There is a watchful presence standing between you and every evil intention spoken against your life. What they arranged will fail. What they plotted will fall apart. Their desire will turn back onto their own path, and their twisted plan will crumble long before it ever reaches you. You may not realize it yet, but everything that was meant to harm you is already losing its strength, because darkness collapses the moment light exposes it. And the truth is this: what they tried to hide cannot remain hidden anymore. That night when they made that call, when their trembling voice whispered commands meant for your destruction, something else awakened in the unseen realm, something far greater, something far more powerful than their hate. A barrier rose around you, invisible yet unbreakable, because there is a limit to how far evil can stretch before it is forced to face a power stronger than itself. While they plotted in shadows, you were watched over in silence. While they fed their heart with bitterness, protection was being woven around your steps. Every move they made in secret was witnessed by eyes that never sleep, and every false intention they nurtured was recorded in a realm far above their understanding. The anger they held, the jealousy they embraced, the darkness they invited, none of it escaped notice, and slowly the very forces they thought would assist them began turning against them, unraveling their confidence, shaking their certainty, and destroying the illusion of control they believed they had. What they didn't expect was the toll this decision would take on their life. The moment they spoke those words over the phone, something inside them shifted in a way they could no longer hide. Their guilt didn't vanish the way they hoped. In fact, it grew larger. Their conscience didn't die, it screamed louder. They began walking through their days feeling watched, feeling exposed, feeling as if someone knew what they were planning. They looked at you differently after that night, not with the casual familiarity they once had, but with a nervous edge. Their eyes darted away too quickly. Their conversations felt forced, rushed, unnatural. They avoided long eye contact, afraid you might see the truth swirling behind their gaze. You may have already sensed it without realizing. A heaviness when they approached you, a sudden discomfort in their presence, strange pauses in their sentences, forced smiles that didn't reach their eyes. Their spirit has been collapsing under the weight of what they set in motion, and though they tried to act normal, the cracks in their behavior have been widening every single day. People who plan darkness often forget that their own heart becomes the first battlefield, and slowly they begin losing their grip on their own sanity. As the day they selected draws closer, the fear inside them grows like a storm. They try to convince themselves that what they've done is justified. They tell themselves you deserved it. They tell themselves they will feel free once you're gone, but these are lies they speak only to silence the terror sitting in their chest. Every time they close their eyes, they see the consequences of their actions. Every time they wake up, their heart races with panic. They know the path they chose has no return, and whether they admit it or not, they're beginning to realize the darkness they hired is not something they can control. The person they contacted, the cold voice that accepted their request, has no loyalty to them. That voice does not care who lives or who dies. That voice listens only to payment and shadows. A person like that does not follow moral lines or emotional attachments. They operate on silence, precision, and their own hidden motives. And your betrayer has unknowingly invited someone into their life far more dangerous than they imagined. The one they hired sees them not as a client, but as a stepping stone, an opportunity, a disposable piece in a larger game they know nothing about. The betrayer believes they are in control, but they are already entangled in something much darker than their original intention. And this is where the story begins to shift in ways they never expected. Strange things have started happening around them, nights where they cannot sleep, moments where they feel followed, shadows that seem to move at the corner of their vision, paranoia tightening around them like a grip. They think this is guilt, but it isn't just guilt. They have opened a door that was never meant to be opened, and something stepped through that door, something that now watches them the same way they wanted you to be watched. Meanwhile, you may have felt small hints that something was unfolding, even if you couldn't explain it at the time. A dream that unsettled you, a sudden chill when you thought of a certain person, a moment where you felt a strange weight when they were near. These weren't coincidences. They were warnings gently nudging your spirit, trying to prepare you long before you learned the truth. You were being shielded in ways you did not see, guided by instincts that whispered to you even when your mind didn't fully understand. Your life has always carried a light that threatened people who live in shadow. Your resilience, your growth, your capacity to rise from brokenness, these qualities intimidate people whose hearts never learned how to fight their own battles. You are the kind of person who survives storms others couldn't stand in. And that alone attracts envy so deep it transforms into hatred. But you also carry a form of protection they underestimated. You are not walking this journey alone. There is a presence guarding you with a strength far beyond anything they could ever plan. The moment their intention formed, the shield around you strengthened. And now, even though their plan was crafted with precision, it is already falling apart from the inside. The one they hired is slipping away from their control. Fear is eating them from within. Doubt is haunting their thoughts. Their energy is collapsing. They are unraveling long before anything touches you. Every step they planned is weakening. Every detail they arranged is being scattered like dust in the wind. Their confidence is dissolving, their bravado fading, their courage turning to ash. The closer the chosen date gets, the more their world tightens around them. They feel watched because they are. They feel exposed because truth is exposing them. They feel powerless because the darkness they tried to wield is turning against them. Their intentions are backfiring. Their fear is consuming them. They wanted your end, but instead they are witnessing the collapse of everything they tried to build in secret. And you, without lifting a hand, without knowing the details, without fighting in the physical realm, are rising above their intentions simply because protection surrounds you like an unbreakable wall. You are not the one in danger. They are. Everything they unleashed is circling back toward them. Everything they wished upon you is shifting onto their own path, and every breath they took planning your fall has already become the beginning of their own. My child, what your betrayer doesn't realize is that everything they set in motion has already started working against them. The same darkness they tried to command is now circling them like a predator sensing weakness. Their nights have become longer, their thoughts heavier, their spirit more fragile. They replay the call in their mind over and over, the voice, the silence, the agreement, and with every replay they feel their grip on reality slipping. They try to convince themselves that they did the right thing, that removing you will somehow fix the emptiness inside them, but no matter how many times they repeat those lies, they cannot outrun the truth. Their conscience is not dead. It is screaming. Now they wake up with anxiety clawing at their chest. They look at the calendar, counting the days, feeling their stomach twist every time their eyes land on the date they so carefully selected. They believe choosing a meaningful day would bring them satisfaction, but instead it haunts them. They see that date everywhere, on receipts, on clocks, in conversations, and each time it appears it feels like a warning, a reminder of what they've done, a whisper of consequences that are drawing closer. They hoped eliminating you would bring peace, but all they've found is torment. Their behavior is changing in ways they can't hide. They're jumpier than usual, more easily startled by small sounds. Their laughter is forced, their smiles thin and uncertain. When they talk to you, their voice wavers slightly, though they try desperately to hide it. They avoid being near you too long, afraid you'll notice the darkness swirling behind their eyes. But even if you don't see it directly, your spirit senses the shift. Something inside you tightens each time they approach, as though your intuition is acting like a quiet alarm, nudging you to stay alert. Meanwhile, something else is happening in the unseen realm, something your betrayer has no idea exists. The moment they made the agreement, forces larger than either of you began moving. Protection gathered around you like a wall of unshakable strength. Paths began shifting. Conversations you were never meant to hear are now drifting closer to your awareness. People you barely know feel compelled to check on you, drawn by instincts they don't fully understand. It is as though the universe itself is aligning circumstances to shield you from harm. There will be moments, small ones, where you notice unusual patterns. A friend calls out of nowhere. A plan you made gets cancelled unexpectedly. You feel a sudden urge to stay home rather than go somewhere. You choose a different route without knowing why. These aren't coincidences. They are gentle redirections, placing you exactly where you need to be, keeping you away from every danger intended for you. Protection often looks like inconvenience. It looks like interruptions, delays, and unexpected changes. But behind each small shift, a larger plan is at work. The darker path is unfolding very differently for them. The person they hired has begun to question the betrayer's resolve. The cold-voiced figure doesn't trust weak hearts, and the betrayer's fear is becoming obvious. Shadows like these thrive on confidence, on certainty, on cruelty, without hesitation. But when they sense panic or doubt, they become unpredictable, detached, even dangerous to those who hired them. The betrayer thought they were in control. They believed they could ask for destruction without consequence. but they have caught the attention of someone who does not care about their safety, their emotions, or their regrets. Their fear is now a scent that the shadows feed on. And while the betrayer unravels, you begin to rise in ways they never expected. You feel a shift inside you, a quiet strength building, a deeper awareness awakening. Your spirit is becoming more sensitive, more alert, more connected to the truth unfolding around you. It's as though something is whispering guidance into your heart, helping you see through the illusions people wear, helping you understand the difference between genuine affection and disguised resentment. Your intuition is sharpening like a blade, revealing subtle clues you once overlooked. You might recall moments when this person's words didn't match their tone, when their smile didn't match their eyes, when their presence felt heavier than their actions. At the time, you dismissed it, choosing kindness over suspicion. You gave them trust without question. But now, looking back, those signs feel different. They feel like pieces of a puzzle you weren't ready to assemble then, but are beginning to recognize now. And even though you still don't know the full truth, your heart is preparing for it. The betrayer's world, on the other hand, is collapsing. They've started to lose sleep completely. Nights spent staring at the ceiling, thoughts racing like a storm they can't outrun. They check their phone constantly, expecting messages from the person they hired, terrified the plan will go wrong, yet just as terrified it will go through. They are trapped between fear of failure and fear of success, and each passing hour makes them more desperate, more unstable, more unsure of themselves. They never expected the psychological weight of their decision to crush them like this. They never anticipated the nightmares that now plague their sleep, dreams of being exposed, dreams of being chased, dreams of consequences they can't escape. They wake drenched in sweat, gasping for air, feeling like something is watching them from the corners of the room. Guilt is no longer their enemy. Their own imagination has turned against them. At the same time, subtle disruptions begin appearing in their life. People around them seem distant. Conversations feel strained. Opportunities slip through their fingers. Plans fall apart unexpectedly. They interpret these as bad luck, but they are not coincidences. Darkness always demands payment, and the betrayer is beginning to feel the cost of their choice. Every negative emotion they tried to place on you is returning to them multiplied. Every evil thought they formed is looping back into their own path. Their world is becoming heavier because they wished heaviness upon yours. Their peace is dissolving because they wished chaos into your life. This is not karma or revenge. It is simply the natural reversal of a destructive intention. What they sent out is coming back, because it always does. Meanwhile, without knowing why, you feel a growing sense of calm settling inside you. Even though things around you may not make sense, something within you feels grounded, steady, protected. You feel watched over, guided, supported. A gentle reassurance touches your spirit, telling you that you are not walking into danger blindly. You are being covered in ways you can't see but can deeply feel. Nothing meant to break you will reach you. Nothing designed to end you will touch your life. The shadows cannot cross the boundary that now surrounds you, and the person who intended your end will come to realize that they were never in control. Their plan is dissolving piece by piece. Their strength is fading, their confidence crumbling, their intentions returning to them like a tide they cannot stop. You are not the victim in this story. You are the survivor. You are the protected one. And the closer danger tries to come, the farther it is pushed away from your path. The light around you is expanding, and every shadow aiming to harm you is shrinking under its strength. My child, the day they chose is drawing nearer, and while you continue moving through life unaware of the full extent of their intentions, something extraordinary is happening around you. The atmosphere near you feels different. lighter in some moments, heavier in others, as though unseen hands are shifting the environment to keep you from harm. You might find yourself pausing without knowing why, hesitating before taking a step, feeling drawn away from certain places or urged toward unexpected ones. These subtle nudges are not random. They are the quiet ways protection works, redirecting your path with gentle, invisible force. Your betrayer feels this shift too, but in the opposite direction. Their world is tightening like a noose. Every day feels heavier, their chest feels tighter, their thoughts are clouded with fear they can't escape. And though they desperately want to believe everything will unfold smoothly, doubt floods them with every breath. They thought plotting your downfall would bring relief, but instead it has brought a storm into their own life. The peace they once had, even if small or temporary, has vanished completely. They walk through their days with the sense that something terrible is approaching, something they cannot prevent, something they might have summoned without fully understanding its consequences. They've begun noticing things that weren't there before, shadows in corners that make them jump, footsteps behind them that vanish when they turn, flickers of movement in their peripheral vision that disappear the moment they look directly. The weight of what they've done has manifested not just emotionally but physically. Their body feels tense, exhausted, and drained. They cannot relax, no matter how much. They try. Their mind is constantly racing, searching for signs of safety, desperate to silence the guilt, but failing at every attempt. The person they hired remains a looming threat in their thoughts. That cold voice, the one that agreed without hesitation, is beginning to feel less like an ally and more like a danger. They fear receiving a message that confirms the next step just as much as they fear receiving a message that something has gone wrong. Their paranoia grows, pushing them into a state where every notification feels like a dagger. They are trapped in a psychological prison of their own making, and there is no comfort available to them anymore. Meanwhile, around you, new layers of protection have formed. Unexpected help appears in ways you don't immediately understand. Someone's advice, someone's warning, a message you happen to read at the perfect moment, a plan you instinctively cancel, or an urge that pulls you in a different direction. The universe is weaving a safety net around you so carefully that it feels like intuition, coincidence, or timing, but it is far more deliberate than that. Your steps are being guided away from danger before danger even has the chance to approach. Your heart may feel strangely calm, as though something is assuring you from within. Even if small stresses appear, they don't overwhelm you the way they once did. You might feel stronger, more grounded, more confident, as if something inside you knows you're being safeguarded. That inner steadiness is not accidental. It's the result of unseen forces taking their positions around your life, ready to intercept every threat before it reaches you. As the chosen date approaches, the betrayer's fear becomes unbearable. They start making mistakes, obvious ones. They accidentally mention things they shouldn't. They slip up in conversations. Their face betrays emotions they try to hide. Their hands shake when they speak, and people around them begin noticing something off. The betrayer can feel this too, and it terrifies them. They worry someone may be watching them more closely than before. They sense that their secret is no longer as hidden as they thought, and deep inside, a new fear arises. The fear that the very trap they set may end up capturing them instead. There is a moment coming when their world will collide with truth. Life has a way of exposing hidden intentions in unexpected ways. Sometimes a slip of the tongue reveals everything. Sometimes a wrong message is sent to the wrong person. Sometimes a stranger overhears a conversation not meant for them. Sometimes the hired figure speaks out of turn. The betrayer does not know exactly how it will unfold, but they know exposure is inevitable because the pressure inside them is reaching a breaking point. Secrets this dark do not stay buried forever, especially when the universe is working to bring justice into balance. On the other hand, you may begin noticing clarity in your life that wasn't there before. People who once mistreated you are beginning to reveal their true colors clearly. You no longer feel confused about who supports you and who doesn't. You are seeing intentions more sharply. You are becoming more selective, more aware, more intuitive. This isn't just a result of what's happening around you, it's a transformation happening inside you, an awakening sparked by the danger you weren't even aware of. You are evolving into someone who senses truth before it is spoken, someone who understands energy more deeply, someone who recognizes danger even without physical evidence. With every passing hour, the betrayer feels their plans slipping out of their grip. Their heart races when they glance at the calendar. They feel physically sick when they remember the date they chose. The idea of following through with the plan twists their stomach. But the idea of stopping it terrifies them even more because they fear the consequences of backing out. They fear the person they hired. They fear what might happen if they admit their mistake. They fear facing you because your existence has become a mirror reflecting their weakness. The day they selected is around the corner now. They feel nauseous every morning. Their hands tremble throughout the day. Their mind is consumed by thoughts of being caught, being exposed, being punished. Their plans fall apart. Their excuses become flimsy. Their lies unravel easily. They try to act normal, but their body betrays them with every nervous twitch, every forced laugh, every stuttered word. And while they drown in fear, you ascend into clarity. New opportunities open up. New connections form. Life feels like it is shifting in your favor. You sense that a breakthrough is close, even if you don't know what triggered it. This is not random luck. This is divine realignment. Everything meant to destroy you is failing. Everything meant to harm you is collapsing. Every step aimed against you is dissolving into dust. At the final moment, just before their chosen date, something happens that stops everything. The betrayer reaches their breaking point. Their guilt becomes unbearable. Their fear becomes overwhelming. Something inside them fractures, forcing the darkness they tried to hide into the open. Whether through a slip of the tongue, a message sent to the wrong person, a confrontation they weren't prepared for, or a moment of panic where they can no longer pretend, truth begins to surface. And in that moment, a wave of realization crashes into them. They were never going to win. They were never going to succeed. They were never meant to bring your life to an end because you were never unprotected. Their plan was always powerless. Their intentions were always doomed. Their hatred was never strong enough to overcome the force standing between you and danger. As their world collapses, yours stabilizes. As they tremble, you rise. As they fear the consequences of their own darkness, you step into a future untouched by it. Your life continues, stronger, clearer, protected, elevated, and they are left to deal with the aftermath of their own choices. The darkness they summoned has no place near you anymore. The threat has dissolved and cannot return. Your path is shielded, your spirit is safe, your journey continues with a strength they could never break. You were never the one in danger. You were always the one destined to survive.